It was April 1951. As our history goes, the members of the Syracuse chapter of Sigma Delta met at the Waldorf cafeteria. Over coffee, Gene Cohen, Joe Porcello of the Herald Journal, Ned Ryan, a television news photographer, and Morgan Redmore, who was doing PR at the time for Salt Lake Process, discussed their growing problems with the Syracuse chapter. Cohen and Redmore suggested the same solution. Why don't we quit the national group and start our own organization? And it was at that moment the Syracuse Press Club was born. And here we are 65 years later. We also want to pay tribute tonight to a recently departed local news legend, Bill Carey, a reporter, an anchor, a news director, executive producer for 44 years in this market for various television and radio stations. Passed away, as you know, last August. We will honor him tonight with the first ever Bill Carey Journalist of the Year Award, which was given to be judged to an outside judge. Bill's family will join us later on this evening and present that later. In terms of our hosts, I think we have actually the perfect host this evening. After all, given how much the Syracuse Orange dominated the news cycle over the past couple months. Anyway, please welcome our MCs for this evening. From the Syracuse Media Group, longtime esteemed basketball beat writers, Mike Waters and Donna Zoe.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you, Josh. He's got a great voice, right?
Yes, he does.
He's got like a TV voice.
Well, it makes sense. And I want to thank him for asking us to be here tonight, because you got us out of the duty of having to cover the basketball at Turning Stone.
Right.
And once you've covered that more than a handful of times, forget it.
Thank you very much. I would truly like to say that I'm truly honored to receive the Philip A. Hoffman President's Award for Best News Source. To Josh Craddock and the President of the SPC and the entire Board of Directors, thank you for your consideration and for selecting me for this award. When I think about being up here and receiving an honor like this, I have to smile to myself. Not too many people can say that they've lived out their dreams. I consider myself a very fortunate person and have the opportunities that I have had. Before joining the state police, I worked as a news photographer editor at WIVB in Buffalo, a job that I truly loved and enjoyed. And then in 1997, I decided to join and switch gears and join the New York State Police. As of September of last year, I celebrated my 18th year and as a New York State Trooper, and began my career, believe it or not, in a small town called Gouverneur, New York. I could never envision that nearly 2 decades later that I'd be here being honored as News Source of the Year by a group of my peers and professionals, and as the Troop D Public Information Officer for the State Police.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Syracuse Press Club and the board for all of their hard work in putting on this on the award ceremony and promoting quality journalism in the area. It's something that's very important. Thank you. I'm about 1.5 years into being a professional journalist. I've had such a positive experience so far, and I've met so many just great people in the area who are just doing wonderful things for Central New York. Being a reporter, especially one fresh out of college, can be difficult sometimes. With all of the criticism that comes from becoming a member of the media, sometimes it's hard to know whether you're doing a good job or not. Receiving this award is something that I'm very grateful for, and it means so much to me.
So I just wanted to start off by thanking the Syracuse Press Club for choosing me as this year's Devesti Williams Scholarship recipient. For me, especially as a young writer, there's nothing more encouraging than people finding value in my work. I would also like to thank my aunt and uncle, Dr. Brandine Martin and Mr. Willie White, who are here for me tonight, in place of my parents, who I know would have loved to celebrate this moment with me if they hadn't already planned their vacation a year prior. I feel so blessed to be honored tonight in a room filled with the media professionals whose work I've come to know and admire throughout the years. I have even been lucky enough to work with some of them at WAER last summer, and I am very confident that the work I did under their guidance helped me earn this award tonight, as well as some of the intern opportunities I have received this year. I have been so fortunate to have this small department of extremely knowledgeable, inspiring, and dedicated staff who have provided me with an environment where I could grow into my own voice and see the value in my own work. So thank you to my family, Lemoyne, and the Syracuse Press Club for believing in me.
During his career, Tim has won 8 New York State Associated Press Association awards for his reporting. He was also the winner of a New York State Newspaper Publishers Association Award for Distinguished Business Reporting. The Syracuse Press Club's Board of Directors congratulate Tim Knaus as this year's winner of the Selwyn Kershaw Professional Standards Award.
Thank you guys for saying those nice words. I hope someday I can live up to them. It is truly an honor to be recognized by my peers for having professional standards. And I say that because, as some of you may remember from the press conference a few weeks ago, the mayor of Syracuse is pretty sure I have none. She told us so during the news conference, and thanks to the miracle of Periscope, everybody saw it. Well, now we know the truth. Yeah.
It is in recognition of the journalistic excellence demonstrated for over 26 years that I, as the owner and publisher of the Syracuse New Times, a journalistic and overall general excellence created by a hard-working, very dedicated, and highly talented staff. The staff deserves most of the credit for this award tonight. The next group includes longtime, full-time staffers who remain with the newspaper to this day. First and foremost is Mike Davis. Mike was actually there before I bought the paper. Mike is the dean of all New Times employees, having been with the newspaper as chief photographer for over 35 years. Michael has won lots and lots of awards from national and local. Now, this is important. Michael taught most of the Syracuse Post-Standard photographers all they know about photography. And one of his proteges became chief photographer of the Post-Standard. We compete with them some, but we taught them all they know. Now, Walt Shepard. What can you say about Walt Shepard? We all know Walt Shepard. Well, Walt was with the New Times over 35 years. Most of that as a full-time staffer, currently as a freelance writer. Walt was the dean of all political writers in central New York. For many, many years, all of the politicians respected Walt and trusted him more than any other writer in central New York. Walt is also a former president of the Syracuse Press Club, and Walt is on the Wall of Distinction. He mentioned to me tonight that he's the only person of all those distinguished people whose picture he's wearing a hat. And Walt wears a hat almost all the time. There is one additional person who must get much of the credit for tonight's honor. She started with the New Times almost 30 years ago. She ran several major departments, and for years she was the glue that held the entire staff together. She was the go-to person for everything, the problem solver for every department. I think we would have folded years ago if it wasn't for her. You know, she was even accused of sleeping with the publisher. Now, is that crazy? The number one person at the New Times and in my life, Shirley Sherburne Zimmer. Shirley, stand up. And so, on behalf of the wonderful staff I have had the pleasure of working with for 26 years, I say thank you. This award is for you.
That he already knows the key interviews to get that you're still trying to figure out. That was true when I started working in Syracuse. It was true until last year when Bill was still with us, and always ahead of the game. Always thinking about the story. You know, it's ironic that we're here. I'm getting an award in his name, and you mentioned his Emmys and Murrows, and we've won some of those this year at our station, and we've won a bunch of Press Club Awards, and they truly are meaningful. I want to thank the Press Club for everything you do. But Bill didn't spend one day of his career thinking about, how am I going to win an award? How am I going to get another Press Club Award? How am I going to put another Emmy that probably, I'm guessing, was in a box somewhere, or another plaque that says you've done a great job. He cared about journalism. That's why the title of this award is so meaningful. He cared about being a journalist. He cared about that story. And I see young people here tonight, whether you're at Newhouse, or I know the Ithaca College students had to hit the road because it's past their Ithaca College bedtime. That can't possibly be true, Anthony Adornato. But even the working journalists who are here, John O'Brien, I know, has a story he's thinking about, and he probably shouldn't be. He should probably focus on enjoying his weekend. But you know he's still trying to figure out how to get Gary Thibodeau out of prison. Or we know that Michael Benny has a Baby Easton piece that's coming up. Or I know that we're running an investigation that's airing Monday. You'll see promos on that shortly. You always have to think about what is your next story. That's part of who we are. And that's exactly what Bill Carey was. He was a journalist first who cared about the story, cared about his community, cared about informing people. And as much as awards are wonderful and make us feel good in the moment and add to a resume and build something to remember when you're announced and introduced later in life, they are nothing without the stories that we tell. So this means so much to me for especially being the first one. It's an honor to carry on Bill's legacy. Thank you very much.